Okay, I'd like to call to order the regular council meeting of October 10th, 2022. Mr. Christian, would you please call the roll?
Dr. Campbell.
Here.
Mr. Sensi.
Here.
Mr. Council Magno.
Here.
Mr. Espinar.
Here.
Ms. Flynn.
Here.
Mr. Janicek.
Here.
Mr. Mowry.
Here.
Mr. Oakes.
Here.
Mr. O'Brien.
Present.
All members present and accounted for. Can we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Okay, I'd like to turn to chair announcements. Executive session of council was conducted on September 26, 2022 for personnel matters in possible real estate acquisition. And tonight, before we came out, October 10th, 2022, for personal matters and possible real estate action. At this time, I would like to go off the agenda and turn it over to Chief O'Connor, and we have a special guest in a swearing-in ceremony. So, welcome, Judge Arnone.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. Hi, everybody. Very happy to preside over this this evening. So I'm going to call up first our new officer, Amber DeFranco. Would you come up, Amber? Amber's been with us for a week. And just so you know, she was with the Pittsburgh Bureau of Police since 2009. She started as a patrol officer at Zone 1 on the north side. And through her hard work and dedication, she was made a detective, assigned to the intelligence unit. She was there a couple years. And then she left to go to the mounted patrol. And she's been there for 5 years, mounted as on a horse. Right, yeah. So we're going to have her sworn in tonight, and the wise and learned Judge Ronald Arnone is here, and he's going to do the swearing in. Come on up, Judge.
Thank you, Chief. Thanks, Chief, and thank you all. It's great to be here, swearing another new officer to our police department. Thanks, Mayor, Vice President, members of council, administration of Bethel Park. This is the oath of office for the municipality of Bethel Park. And if you would raise your right hand, please, repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Amber DeFranco,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support,
that I will support,
obey,
obey,
and defend
and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and that I will enforce the laws of this Commonwealth
and I will enforce the laws of this Commonwealth
and the ordinances of the municipality of Bethel Park,
and the ordinances of the municipality of Bethel Park,
and that I will discharge the duties of police officer
and I will discharge the duties of police officer
with diligence
with diligence
and fidelity.
and fidelity.
I will never betray my badge,
I will never betray my badge,
my integrity,
my integrity,
my character,
my character,
or the public trust.
or the public trust.
I will always have the courage
I will always have the courage
to hold myself
to hold myself
and others
and others
accountable
accountable
for all actions.
for all actions.
And I do further swear or affirm
And I do further swear or affirm
that I will uphold,
that I will uphold,
obey,
obey,
and enforce the law
and enforce the law
without consideration
without consideration
to a person's race,
to a person's race,
color,
color,
sex,
sex,
religious creed,
religious creed,
sexual orientation,
sexual orientation,
age,
age,
national origin,
national origin,
ancestry,
ancestry,
handicap, or disability.
handicap, or disability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
If you can keep your speech to under 10 minutes, that would be.
One copy for you, one to the municipality.
Brilliant.
Well, I did want to know, are we getting up? Chief Dixon said we might be getting them onto patrol here in Bethel.
Yeah, and I'm gonna raise, yeah, when the Dixon's taxes get raised, then we'll get
We just started budget talks.
So the answer is no.
I do want to thank Council for Amber's hiring. This is going to bring us up to 39 full-time officers, and based on the events recently, we need them, including today. So here's what I'm going to do, is I'm going to present you now with your official Bethel Park Police badge.
Thank you.
Okay? Questions? We're good?
Anything? No? Thank you.
I didn't say anything about your tie. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Can we now turn to the reports of the officials and the library director's report?
I always hate following the chief. He's too funny all the time. Good evening. My name is Christine. I'm the director of your public library, where we provide opportunities to inform, inspire, create, and connect. I just want to say a thank you to our sponsors and volunteers of the 5th annual Bethel Park Fantastic Four golf outing. We had a great day. It started out very rainy, but 20 minutes before tee-off, it cleared up. We had a great day. The event raised over $32,000 to be split equally between the Bethel Park Education Foundation, the Community Foundation, the Historical Society, and the library. So it was our most successful year. And also a big thank you to all who donated during Love Your Library Month. During the month of September, we raised just under $20,000 for the library, with the pro-rated match that will be forthcoming from the Jack Buncher Family Foundation. Our next fundraising event is Yinzer's 2022, an evening of Pittsburgh food and fun. This will be held on Friday, October 21st at the library from 6 to 8 p.m. This event is sponsored by the newly rejuvenated Friends of Bethel Park Public Library. Tickets are $30 each, or two for $50. They're available at the library or at EV Hardware, and the proceeds do benefit the library for our programs and activities. In addition to our daily story times and our monthly book groups, we have a few events coming up this month. We have our Haunted Hat Tea on Friday, October 14th at 11 a.m. This is for adults, so you can come and experience the spirit of Halloween while enjoying tea and finger sandwiches. We ask that you wear a Halloween hat, because we do award a prize for the most unusual Halloween hat. Teen Tuesdays will be on Tuesday, October 19th at 6:30 p.m. In October, they'll be playing breakout games, and there'll be popcorn and apple cider. This is for students in grades 7 and up. And we have Family STEM Day on Saturday, October 22nd, so you can stop in any time between the hours of 11 and 2 for hands-on activities and demonstrations incorporating science, technology, engineering, and math. This is for all age children, but a reminder that children under the age of 10 need to be accompanied by an adult. And if you haven't been in the library in the last 2 weeks, you should come in. We have 7, hopefully, fertilized chicken eggs in an incubator. We're part of the Hatch the Chicken program. So we've been watching them. The staff is just as excited as the kids. Our projected hatch date is October 19th, so that's next week. We will be filming some of that, putting it up on Facebook and Instagram and on our YouTube channel. But it's very exciting. Then we'll have the chicks for 2 weeks. Then they go back to the farmer who is in Freeport. So we're very excited about that. That's all I have this evening.
Thank you very much. Any questions? Hearing none, does the chief have any additional report? Okay, I will now turn to the fire chief's report.
Good evening, council. Good evening, residents of Bethel Park. My name is Rob Usselman. I am the assistant chief of the Bethel Park Volunteer Fire Company. And I have the incident report for September 2022. So last month we had a rather busy month. We had 3 structure fires, 1 cooking accident, 1 debris on fire, 4 vehicle accidents, 2 elevator rescues, 3 gas leaks, 1 electrical condition, 1 assist the police with traffic, 6 good intent calls, 4 smoke investigations, 15 false alarms, and 2 CO detector activations for an incident total for the month of 43 calls. So rather busy month. Hopefully it quiets down in the next few months. We would like to thank out on October 2nd, a couple weeks, Sundays ago, we had our annual open house. We haven't had it for a few years due to COVID, so it was our first one in quite a while. We appreciate everybody coming up to support us, all the residents who showed up. We had even though the weather was rather bad from the hurricane that kind of went through Florida and came up, we still had a great turnout. We'd like to thank the police for sending a unit, Tri-Community for sending a unit to assist with us. Also, some local establishments helped out. Bethel Bakery came by and handed out cookies for everybody. And Andy from Evie's Hardware stopped up to help talk to the community about smoke detectors and all the good stuff for fire safety. So it was a good turnout. We appreciate everybody that showed up to support us. Also, this time of year, if you notice, the leaves are changing and falling. We asked residents not to burn your leaves. That is illegal. Please do not burn them. And we would rather have you put them in paper bags and leave them on the curb when the collection dates happen. If you need to know the collection dates, check the municipality website, or you should have got something in the mail that tells you when leaf bags will be picked up. So we ask you to do that. And one final thing, this week is National Fire Prevention Week. It is sponsored by the National Fire Protection Association, which is NFPA. Believe it or not, they have been doing this for 100 years. It has been a National Fire Prevention Week, and it's really important. We obviously want to prevent fires as firefighters, so it's really important that we go out and use the information that the National Fire Protection Association gives us. For residents who are interested in more, there is a website, nfpa.org, that they can go and access, and there is so much safety information out there that will help you if you have questions about things like planning your escape routes, smoke detectors, what to do with cooking fires, all kinds of different information. So we ask the residents to check that website out. Again, that's nfpa.org. And this year's theme is Fire Won't Wait, Plan Your Escape. And that is all I have.
Thank you very much. Any discussion from council? Hearing none, we will turn to the municipal manager's report, Mr. Christian. Thank you.
Mayor Allen, members of council, thank you so much. Just going to go through a brief summary real quick of some updates for the month of September. What is the monthly review? It's a new process by which I can overlay some statistics and analysis from the municipality staff. What this is going to do is provide some just generic information on the efficiency and effectiveness of the staff. For the monthly review for September, the municipal budget used, currently we're at 61% of the general fund operating. Sorry, I got a tickle in my throat. It's been killing me for 2 weeks now. My apologies. Currently with expenditures of $19 million to date. With the sewage fund, we're currently about $11.9 million expended to date. Revenue collections, though, we're at roughly 69%. I think that's where we're good. We're in a good position with that is. And real estate taxes, obviously you can see, make up 36% of that one. And Act 511, which all make up 54% of that. That's the breakdown on the far left-hand side there. On the far right-hand side, you'll see we're well into the strategic development process right now. That plan will be presented to council here in the next week to 10 days in its draft form, and we'll go through some revisions and allow the council to give that final input and refinement from the staff. Moving on to some specific things that we've done for the community to date. Recent ones, as you noticed, we had some social media exploits for Pine Tree Park. That is well in its throes right now. There are people, Public Works and members of our council and philanthropic groups had dismantled the playground and were transferring it over to Lions Park. That park, we're about a couple weeks out from getting a brand new playground set. There are different improvements that are going on with that particular park, so that is a wonderful park and a wonderful project that will hopefully come to conclusion here in the next couple of months, with the final aspects of it being done in the spring, with it being a really nice path, some new greens in there, and a lot of nice new improvements. On the right-hand side of the screen, you'll see a couple of key things that the Public Works has done. They're going through each one of the parks. Right recently, they just hit Simmons Park and really did a good job cleaning that one and prepping it for the winter, because it's all coming. We know it's coming. We have a tree planting operation that's going to go on at Miners Park, and so they've been busy for doing that one here. They've got the trees on hand, and we're ready for the Shade Tree Commission and key members of the community and council to get over there on Miners Park on Friday and plant some trees to keep our tree canopy in good place. That street sweeper, I know you hear it earlier in the morning, and it's keeping our streets right where they need to be. It's so imperative that we keep those MS4 credits for the whole municipality. It keeps things out of our streams. It keeps it right where it needs to be, and it goes to the dump, and it's right where it should be, rather than our streams and our rivers. So that's vitally important to the health of our community. A couple of small highlights there. As you notice, planning and zoning. Council approved the new sign ordinance last month, which takes effect in 2 days. So that is going to be a great improvement for our community. We're really happy about that one. A lot of definition on there, a lot more fidelity for that specific. So we're really happy with that going. And then also the short-term rental ordinance. Council did a first review on that one, and that's over to Allegheny County for their 45-day review. So it's going to be we expect some comments and some revisions back, and we'll get those reviewed and presented back to council. So overall, ladies and gentlemen, that's my report. If you have any questions.
Any questions? Hearing none, thank you very much. At this time, I'd like to turn to the mayor's report, and Mayor Allen.
Thank you, Mr. Murray. Good evening, everyone. I have just a few items tonight. I did want to mention that when Judge Arnone was here, he's having his lead family night, and that's this Wednesday, October 12th, at the Upper St. Clair High School auditorium, and it starts at 7 p.m. He's done quite a few of these. If anyone's available to see it, it's about leadership development. So he'd appreciate, people going out to watch his program. Well, we're getting towards the middle and end of October, so I want to talk about our Halloween parade. We'll have our Halloween parade Saturday, October 29th, from 9 to 11, and it's the same route as last year. So those orange pumpkins that are on the ground will be used again this year. Now, if you want to see a copy of the parade route, you can go on our website. Also, with Halloween, we have our annual decorating contest. We're looking for judges. If anyone out there would like to judge, they can call Janet at 412-831-6800, and her extension's 211. And we do it by ward, and the judging will happen between the 24th and the 31st of this month. Also, fall cleanup is Saturday, October 22nd. We do have quite a few volunteers for that, but you can never have enough volunteers for the cleanup. At this point, I'd like to bring up Joe Spinnenweber. Joe is a member of the Marine Corps League. And I will say, and I didn't know this, and maybe council knew this, but last Wednesday evening, the Marine Corps League presented the Clementi family with a plaque, because I didn't know that Roberto Clementi was actually a veteran of the U.S. Marines. So Joe wants to tell you about a program that they're sponsoring or they're dealing with.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, Council. Joe Spinnenweber. I'm a resident of Bethel Park. Yes, Mayor, thank you for you and the American Legion for attending our meeting Wednesday night. And it's true. Roberto Clementi, number 21, did serve in the United States Marine Corps. I'll go over it briefly. From 1958 to 1964, he served active duty for the first 6 months and then went on to reserve. So that's a little bit of his history. I could go into a lot of what he has done. But he did receive a couple awards, for sure, both federal and state. So he's a well-known Marine. His family was there on Wednesday evening, Roberto Clementi Jr., and also his son, Louis. And I also managed to get my grandson up here to come up and take a picture with him. So it was a pretty good, fun night. But thank you, Mayor. Appreciate that. And then also, I'm here for another big event that's coming up. It's got started here in the city of Pittsburgh. What's happened is, on November the 11th, in the evening at approximately 5:30 at night, we're going to go through a program, Light to Unite. It's the National Flag Foundation and the Military Order of the Purple Heart are partnering to commemorate a celebration of the 204th anniversary of the Purple Heart Award. What we're doing is the Compers building downtown will be lit up in purple. And the United States Marine Corps League, both here in Pittsburgh and the other 7 detachments and our Division 10, and also the Pennsylvania Marine Corps League and the National Marine Corps League are coming into town, and we're going to celebrate by starting here in Pittsburgh, turning on the purple light at the Compers building at 5:30 in the evening. Right after that, New York will start, and then from there along the East Coast, the rest of the cities will start to light up their night, their buildings, and also other Marine Corps League detachments throughout the East Coast. At 5:30 Central Time, the same thing happens. The Marine Corps League, other cities and buildings are also going to start lighting up. Mountain Time, 5:30. Once again, additional buildings, Marine Corps League detachments and departments and states will light up, and then also onto the West Coast. So what it is, what we're doing is we're trying to have and pass a bill in the Congress and the U.S. Senate where we can have the Department of Defense put together a database of all military men and women who have received the Purple Heart Award. And one of them we pretty well know is Rocky Blair, who served in both the United States Army and also a Pittsburgh Steeler. And along with that, we have 2 other Marines also. John Banaszak served in the Marine Corps, and also another Pittsburgh Steeler. I always mess up his name. Vela Hoea, I believe, is also a United States Marine, and he sent it for the Steelers. But Mayor, thank you for the opportunity to speak. Appreciate that. And also one more thing. Do you think we can light up the military veterans up front, purple or red, white, and blue on the evening of the 11th? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Joe. And finally, the last thing that I have this evening, last Friday, we had our 90-plus luncheon for anyone that's 90-plus, 90 years of age or older. We had close to 100 people there. That included, obviously, the caregivers and so on. It's amazing. It's the nicest thing or best thing that I do in a year. And I want to thank all of council, because if it weren't for them, we wouldn't have that program. So thank you for supporting it. And that's the end of my report.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Okay, at this time, can I turn to the approval of the minutes? And Mr. O'Brien.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. September 12th, regular council meeting. I move that we approve the minutes from the September 12th, 2022 regular council meeting.
Second?
Motion by Mr. O'Brien, second by Mr. Janusik, that we approve the minutes from the September 12th, 2022 regular meeting, council meeting. Any discussion of this item? Mr. Christian, would you please call the roll?
Dr. Campbell.
Yes.
Mr. Sensi.
Yes.
Mr. Consolmagno.
Yes.
Mr. Espinard.
Yes.
Ms. Flynn.
Yes.
Mr. Janusik.
Yes.
Mr. Mallory.
Yes.
Mr. Oakes.
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien.
Yes.
Motion passes 9-0. Mr. O'Brien.
August 22nd, 2022, public hearing minutes. Transfer of a liquor license, Crave Barbecue. I move that we approve the minutes of the August 22nd, 2022 public hearing for the transfer of our liquor license to Crave Barbecue.
Second.
There's a motion by Mr. O'Brien, second by Dr. Campbell, that we approve the minutes of the August 22nd, 2022 public hearing for the transfer of liquor license to Crave Barbecue. Any discussion of this item? Mr. Christian, would you please call the roll?
Dr. Campbell.
Yes.
Mr. Sensi.
Yes.
Mr. Consolmagno.
Yes.
Mr. Espinard.
Yes.
Ms. Flynn.
Yes.
Mr. Janusik.
Yes.
Mr. Mallory.
Yes.
Mr. Oakes.
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien.
Yes.
Motion passes 9-0. Mr. O'Brien.
August 22nd, 2022 public hearing minutes, zoning ordinance amending signs and billboards. I move that we approve the minutes of the August 22nd, 2022 public hearing for the zoning ordinance amending for signs and billboards.
Second.
There's a motion by Mr. O'Brien, second by Dr. Campbell, that we approve the minutes of the August 22nd, 2022 public hearing for the zoning ordinance amendments for signs and billboards. Any discussion of this item? Mr. Christian, would you please call the roll?
Dr. Campbell.
Yes.
Mr. Sensi.
Yes.
Mr. Consolmagno.
Yes.
Mr. Espinar.
Yes.
Ms. Flynn.
Yes.
Mr. Janusik.
Yes.
Mr. Mallory.
Yes.
Mr. Oakes.
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien.
Yes.
Motion passes 9-0. I wasn't here last month, so I think you saved this up just for me this month.
You taught me well.
Okay, Mr. O'Brien.
August 22nd, 2022, special meeting minutes, transfer of a liquor license to Crave BBQ. I move that we approve the minutes of the August 22nd, 2022 special meeting for the transfer of a liquor license to Crave BBQ.
Second.
There's a motion by Mr. O'Brien, second by Mr. Oakes, that we approve the minutes of the August 22nd, 2022 special meeting for the transfer of a liquor license to Crave BBQ. Any discussion on this item? Mr. Christian, would you please call the roll?
Dr. Campbell.
Yes.
Mr. Sensi.
Yes.
Mr. Consolmagno.
Yes.
Mr. Espinar.
Yes.
Ms. Flynn.
Yes.
Mr. Janusik.
Yes.
Mr. Mallory.
Yes.
Mr. Oakes.
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien.
Yes.
Motion passes 9-0. At this time, I would like to turn to the approval of the bills and payroll, and Mr. O'Brien.
Thank you, Mr. Murray. Bill list 101022. I move that we approve bill list 101022 in the amount of $2,260,804.03.
Second.
There's a motion by Mr. O'Brien, second by Mr. Oakes, that we approve bill list number 101022 in the amount of $2,260,804.03. Any discussion on this item? Mr. Christian, would you please call the roll?
Dr. Campbell.
Yes.
Mr. Sensi.
Yes.
Mr. Consolmagno.
Yes.
Mr. Espinar.
Yes.
Ms. Flynn.
Yes.
Mr. Janusik.
Yes.
Mr. Mallory.
Yes.
Mr. Oakes.
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien.
Yes.
Motion passes 9-0. At this time, I would like to turn to the resident comment section for non-agenda items. We have a Patty Kaminsky signed up to speak from 5662 Diane Drive.
That's correct. That's over by St. Germain's.
Sure. Yeah, if you can come up, yeah, sorry, if you can speak at the microphone and just state your name and address for the record.
Pardon?
If you could just state your name and address for the record.
Okay, Patty Kaminsky, 5662 Diane Drive, Pittsburgh, one, over there. Okay, I came in with some pictures from a Halloween display that was put up by a neighbor down the street, and I wanted, while I was talking, if you could take a quick look.
Okay,
And,
if you could start, Ms. Flynn?
I've seen them.
okay.
Do you want to take a look, Mr. McKenna?
And I came here as a grandmother. The location of this residence is right on the corner of Horning Road and Janet. Past St. Germain's, there's a small overpass over. It's a heavily trafficked area, lots of school buses. Last year, we got maybe 50, 60, well, some kids come twice, you know, trick-or-treaters, and most of them were under the age of 7. I get free speech. Jack and I have met before, and we sent out the solicitor to kind of take a look and see. I met with the municipal planner, and I'm hearing back it's all free speech. When you look at those pictures, I understand free speech, and I'm fully supportive of free speech. And I can deal with body parts hanging down and zombie babies, and even the axe to the neck, although it's a little extreme, you know. But the one picture that I really have trouble with is the 2 skeletons, the one kneeling with a Biden t-shirt, and the other has a gun, and both the gun and the t-shirt are back. They had been gone for a while when I met with Jack, but they're back. an execution, and it's takes your breath away to look at it. And it's an execution because of the way that this one skeleton cast his ballot. And I understand free speech again, and I'm thinking, what about the nuisance code? There must be something in the nuisance code, but I guess everything's okay with that. What I'd like to do and what I'm here for is to see if there's any possible way that I can amend or that I can propose an amendment to that nuisance code so that some of these things are not allowed, you know, especially the gun. The rest, we watch Criminal Minds at home, you know, but we switch the channel when my granddaughter comes over. We're very careful of that. So that's what I'm here for. And again, if there can be some discussion, or if someone can tell me what to do at this point. And most of the people that have seen my pictures, which were on my phone, their first response was not, oh, he does have free speech. They're saying, you have how many kids and what's going on in that neighborhood that this is allowed to stand. So,
Okay.
Thank you so much for
Thank you very much. Are there anybody else that would like to speak on non-agenda items? Hearing none, can we turn to General Policy and Finance and Dr. Campbell, and we have no residents signed up to speak.
Mr. President, I only have one item under General Policy and Finance tonight. It's a data center electrical upgrades. I move that we approve the data center electrical upgrades in the amount of $11,984.80 plus a $2,700 contingency per the Director of Special Projects memorandum dated September 22nd, 2022.
Second.
There's a motion by Dr. Campbell, second by Ms. Flynn, that we approve the data center electrical upgrades in the amount of $11,984.80 plus $2,700 in contingency per the Director of Special Projects memorandum dated September 22nd, 2022. Any discussion of this item? Mr. Christian, would you please call the roll?
Dr. Campbell?
Yes.
Mr. Sensi?
Yes.
Mr. Consolmagno?
Yes.
Mr. Espinar?
Yes.
Ms. Flynn?
Yes.
Mr. Janasik?
Yes.
Mr. Mallory?
Yes.
Mr. Oakes?
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien?
Yes.
Motion passes 9-0. Dr. Campbell.
I have no other items, Mr. President.
Thank you, Dr. Campbell. Any additional items? Hearing none, can we turn to Health, Safety, and Welfare and Mr. Sensei? We have nobody signed up to speak.
I have no items, Mr. President, but I would like to say one thing. Last month, I dropped the ball and forgot about somebody's birthday. So if we could all sing for Councilwoman Flynn, it's her 40th birthday, and that's a very special.
Strike that from the minutes.
Strike that from the minutes.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Lindsay. Happy birthday to you.
You're next, Councilman.
Okay, can't top that, can we?
Mr. President,
Mr. Janasek.
I did have an item for Health, Safety, and Welfare. I just wanted to remind the community about the Day of Healing on November 6th from 1 to 4:30 at the Community Center. It's going to be a day to reflect and heal from those we've lost, whether you've been affected by the opioid epidemic, COVID, or any other personal crisis. We want you to know that you are not alone. This will be a community support day to grieve, to heal, and to celebrate life. Activities and informational tables will be made available. The mayor will be speaking, Judge Arnone, and it's going to be a really good day. There's going to be some activities, yoga, qigong, tai chi, that sort of thing. And so it's the first time we're doing it, so logistics are a little here and there, and the day will probably be a little sloppy, but I think, you know, like you said, Mr. Mallory, if we help one person, it's worth it. So I just wanted to send that message out there to the community. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Real quick, under health, safety, and welfare, I'll just note, the whitetail management or controlled deer hunt started, and it coincides with archery season. So you'll see the bow and arrows out there. We are exploring the opportunities to do a culling sometime early next year, similar what the towns around us are doing. We're working with the state to see if it's something it would be permissible. The deer herd, we have a lot additional accidents, it's growing. The archery, we're taking on average around 60 deer a year, but I think they're multiplying quicker. So stay tuned for more information as we get closer to that. Okay, at this time, I would like to turn to planning and zoning and Mr. Janusik, and we have no residents signed up to speak.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just one item for tonight. There's a resolution to create a steering committee for economic development. I move that we approve. I didn't get the resolution number for this. I apologize. R10, I have it here. R10-10-22A to create a steering committee for economic development per the grant writer redevelopment coordinator's memorandum dated October 6th, 2022.
Second.
There's a motion by Mr. Janusik, second by Ms. Flynn, that we approve resolution number R10-10-22A to create a steering committee for economic development per the grant writer redevelopment coordinator's memorandum dated October 6, 2022. Any discussion of this item?
Mr. President?
Mr. Janusik.
Real quick, this is a committee that's going to be made up of 5 local individuals with an interest background in economic development, the redevelopment coordinator, the municipal planner, some residents we're going to ask to join, some council members are going to be there as liaisons, and there'll be more information about that in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Janusik. Any other discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Christian, would you please call the roll?
Dr. Campbell.
Yes.
Mr. Sensi.
Yes.
Mr. Consolmagno.
Yes.
Mr. Espinar.
Yes.
Ms. Flynn.
Yes.
Mr. Janusik.
Yes.
Mr. Mallory.
Yes.
Mr. Oakes.
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien.
Yes.
Motion passes 9-0. Mr. Janusik. Okay, there are no additional items.
I have one.
Mr. O'Brien.
It's going to be a little lengthy, but I think it's necessary. It's about the splash pad. We've worked a long time on it. To think a conversation on the second floor of the schoolhouse some time ago was just an idea, and then moved to a council and a conversation. And then questions were asked like, is it possible? Can we get grants? How much? How much will be done? How much will it cost? Is it necessary? Is it needed? Can it be done? What will it look like? That's the beginning process. So at that point, we reached out to our elected officials, Representative Natalie Mihalik and State Senator Devlin Robinson. And they just picked up the ball to help us with some grants and some opportunities. In fact, their staff works very diligent at it, and they also, both of them, have hands-on to help us through this process. Now, the council, manager, and staff, and the rec board, they all work together to put field trips together, to put the design together. KP worked on the fundraising, and KP's been kind of the glue holding it together, and the manager. And then there's subcommittees. There was a subcommittee to talk about what we want it to look like. Tim Murray, the president, has kind of been the guy who keeps all this together, and Lori Gibbons was on that, myself, and Joe Consolmagno and Tim. And then the mayor and council were the willingness to compromise. Because we have 9, 10 people here that all are our bosses. To compromise on what we can do and what will it look like. We all come with different ideas. And I truly applaud council and the mayor for bringing that here. And all the help that council over the years has put this together. So I asked the manager to put together the people on our staff that help with this project. I was amazed. It's almost everyone. Everyone in our staff, from our directors, they had a part in this. Little parts to bring it all together. And then you have to understand, working with grants is like putting together a bicycle on Christmas Eve, and it has to be done before the morning, or trying to put together a piece of IKEA furniture. You know, there's always some parts missing. So, through the fundraising, design, the timetable, the cost, the PR, what a team effort. All the work was done, and we were ready to go, except for one thing. We had a $950,000 grant from the state that they told us we had, but in order, and Mr. Murray is correct, in order for us to move forward, we need a confirmation letter. So after some inquiries, the staff, they kind of exhausted all the avenues, and they found out that the letter, that this grant is in the governor's office. Now, in my mind, I see this giant table with all these grants on it, and it's sitting there. And then we have to try and get somebody to pick it up and look at it. Some time passed, and we were asking and getting the same answers. It's in the governor's office. We want to move forward. We want to do this. So in this realm that we have here, you have to think about ways you can connect to people to try and get people to help you. So I decided to call Lieutenant Governor Fetterman. Not because I'm a friend with him, not because I know him personally. It's because John and I have a bond. My mother, my grandmother, my uncles, and my grandfather are all from Braddock. My grandfather, he worked as a laborer in ET. He came from Slovakia, and that was his first job. And as a young man, I spent a lot of time on the streets of Braddock with my uncles and my brother and my grandmother, and I just enjoyed what he was trying to do to a place that I grew up, that I found so enjoyable. So I wrote him a letter, and he answered. And he put his staff on it right away. Their response was immediate. And you can ask our staff, there was a different tone moving forward. And we did find that one of those IKEA pieces were missing. It was maybe a cross on the T or something. So they got it through. They went and found it wherever it was, in whatever room. They brought it back. They looked at it. They said, get it done. And then it took some time. But it happened. We got the notice, we got the letter, Friday? That we got the $950,000. You know, but this is a lesson for all of us. All of us here aren't one party, and we work really well together. Natalie and Devin, they're one party, and John's another, and they got it done. Maybe there's a lesson for all of us in this country. If we work together, what can we get accomplished? And I'm excited. Now let's hope our bids don't come in too high. And that's my story. And by the way, they really communicated with me every week through this process to try and get this through. And I thought that was amazing for that office, because sometimes you get, okay, we'll get on it, you don't hear anything. Every Friday, did you hear anything? We'll inquire. Did you hear anything? We'll inquire. We'll find out. And I'm forever profoundly grateful for that kind of service to this municipality of Bethel Park. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, at this time, can we turn to Public Works and Maintenance? And I think he's got 2 pages of stuff, and Mr. Consolmagno.
Well, not quite, Mr. Murray, but...
We have no residents signed up to speak.
We do have 5 items, 5 grant items, and I want to personally thank our grant writer, Diane Alberto, for putting these 5 items together for us tonight, because they mean dollars for Bethel Park. And hopefully we can get them. The total amount of these 5 items, but this was a non-audited by our Director of Finance, but it totals up to $839,500. So it's a sizable chunk of change for these items. And I'll begin with the first one. Miners Park Bathroom Grant Application, DCNR. Park Rehabilitation and Development Program. I move that we approve resolution number R10-10-22B to apply for funding through the DCNR for the Miners Park bathrooms per the grant writer redevelopment coordinator's memorandum dated October 6, 2022.
Second.
There's a motion by Mr. Consul Magno and second by Mr. Oaks that we approve resolution number R10-10-22B to apply for funding through the DCNR for the Miners Park bathrooms per the grant writer redevelopment coordinator's memorandum dated October 6, 2022. Any discussion of this item? Mr. Christian, would you please call the roll?
Dr. Campbell.
Yes.
Mr. Sensi.
Yes.
Mr. Consul Magno.
Yes.
Mr. Espinard.
Yes.
Ms. Flynn.
Yes.
Mr. Janusik.
Yes.
Mr. Mallory.
Yes.
Mr. Oaks.
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien.
Yes.
Motion passes 9-0. Mr. Consul Magno.
Resolution, second item, resolution, Park Avenue Playground Grant Application, DCNR, Park Rehabilitation and Development Program. I move that we approve resolution number R10-10-22C to apply for the DCNR grant for the Park Avenue Playground per the grant writer's redevelopment coordinator's memorandum dated October 6, 2022.
Second.
There's a motion by Mr. Consul Magno and second by Mr. Oaks that we approve resolution number R10-10-22C to apply for the DCNR grant writer for DCNR grant for the Park Avenue Playground per the grant writer redevelopment coordinator's memorandum dated October 6, 2022. Any discussion of this item? Mr. Christian, would you please call the roll?
Dr. Campbell.
Yes.
Mr. Sensi.
Yes.
Mr. Consul Magno.
Yes.
Mr. Espinard.
Yes.
Ms. Flynn.
Yes.
Mr. Janusik.
Yes.
Mr. Mallory.
Yes.
Mr. Oaks.
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien.
Yes.
Motion passes 9-0. Mr. Consul Magno.
Third item, resolution, Park Lighting Project, RACP Application and Business Plan. I move that we approve resolution number R10-10-22D to submit the RACP Application and Business Plan per the grant writer redevelopment coordinator's memorandum dated October 6, 2022.
Second.
There's a motion by Mr. Consul Magno, second by Mr. Oaks, that we approve resolution number R10-10-22D to submit the RACP application and business plan for the grant writer redevelopment coordinator's memorandum dated October 6, 2022. Any discussion of this item? Mr. Christian, would you please call the roll?
Dr. Campbell.
Yes.
Mr. Sensi.
Yes.
Mr. Consul Magno.
Yes.
Mr. Espinard.
Yes.
Ms. Flynn.
Yes.
Mr. Janusik.
Yes.
Mr. Mallory.
Yes.
Mr. Oaks.
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien.
Yes.
Motion passes 9-0. Mr. Consul Magno.
Fourth item, resolution, Peter Page Park and Simmons Park Master Site Development Plans. Grant application, DCNR, Community Recreation and Conservation Planning Program. I move that we approve resolution number R10-10-22E to submit a grant application to DCNR for the Peter Page Simmons Park Master Site Development Plans per the grant writer redevelopment coordinator's memorandum dated October 6, 2022.
Second.
Second.
There's a motion by Mr. Consul Magno, second by Ms. Flynn, that we approve resolution number R10-10-22E to submit a grant application to DCNR for the Peter J. Page Park, Simmons Park Master Site Development Plans per the grant writer's redevelopment coordinator's memorandum dated October 6, 2022. Any discussion of this item? These two grants are for a trail that we're looking to put in those two areas, so we're applying for the grant to do the site development. Mr. Christian, would you please call the roll?
Dr. Campbell.
Yes.
Mr. Sensi.
Yes.
Mr. Consul Magno.
Yes.
Mr. Espinard.
Yes.
Ms. Flynn.
Yes.
Mr. Janusik.
Yes.
Mr. Mallory.
Yes.
Mr. Oaks.
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien.
Yes.
Motion passes 9-0. I'll give Mr. Consul Magno a real quick break. We apply for these grants. It seems like we're up here and vote on them. It's all great. A lot of work, a lot of planning has to go in to get us to this point. We look at the long-range plan. We seek input from this board, from our rec board, from the community. So a lot of these things are wishful thinking, but if you don't apply, you're not going to get anything. And I am happy to announce that we did receive, and we mentioned this a few years ago. We're still working through the process. It's gonna happen, it just may be when, I don't know, but for those of you who lived here, the old Drake Loop line that goes from it, formerly the Dorchester, but it's Aberley, down into the Drake Loop, which ends in Upper St. Clair. We've been working for multiple years to get us to this point, but we were awarded a $150,000 grant for the design of turning the abandoned rail line into a walking trail. It's gonna be a great project. We gotta work through a lot of hurdles. It's gonna be a little different because we're gonna do some kind of agreement with Port Authority. It's taken us this long to get to this point. They're great partners. We look forward to working with them, but it's a lot of work and time and effort by a lot of people to get us to this point. So hopefully some of these, we're not gonna get we know that. Like I said earlier, if we don't apply, we're not gonna get it. So at this time, I would like to turn back to Mr. Consolmagno.
I lost my momentum. Final item, resolution, tree canopy project grant application, RCNR, tree vitalized.
Tree vitalized.
Thank you.
I'm never gonna take a break or say anything before any agenda item.
I move that we approve resolution number R10-10-22F to apply for a DCNR grant for the tree canopy project per the grant writers redevelopment coordinators memorandum dated October 6th, 2022.
Second.
There's a motion by Mr. Consolmagno, who struggled slightly, second by Ms. Flynn, that we approve resolution number R10-10-22F to apply for a DCNR grant for the tree canopy project for the grant writer redevelopment coordinators memorandum dated October 6, 2022. Any discussion of this item? Mr. Christian, would you please call the roll?
Dr. Campbell.
Absolutely, yes.
Mr. Sensi.
Yes.
Mr. Consolmagno.
Absolutely, yes.
Mr. Espinard.
Yes.
Ms. Flynn.
Yes.
Mr. Janicic.
Yes.
Mr. Mowry.
Yes.
Mr. Oakes.
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien.
Yes.
Motion passes.
What are you forgetting me for?
Motion passes 9-0. Mr. Consolmagno.
I think that's enough, Tim.
Are there any additional items?
Motion to adjourn?
There is a motion by
Second.
Mr. Janasek, second by Dr. Campbell to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Good night, everybody.
All right.
Meeting adjourned.